Welcome to Labor Talks, a podcast by NJASAP and for NJASAP that shares important news and information that you consume on your schedule. Labor Talks will tackle vital topics like safety, contract administration, the labor management relationship, and how to navigate life as a NetJets pilot. And we will bring this information to you with the help of experienced union leaders, industry consultants, and subject matter experts. Whether you listen in your car, on the treadmill, or while working on tasks around your home, Labor Talks is a worthy investment of your time and attention. Join your fellow pilots and advocates as Labor Talks. Welcome to Labor Talks. I'm your host, Clare Carey, and scheduling committee member Alexis Goldhagen is joining me for episode 3 of Did You Know? Today, we will discuss schedule and vacation bidding periods, PTO, and VODs and VEDs. All right, so let's get started. Alexis, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Where are you joining me from today?
I am at home in Salt Lake City.
Lovely. Cold out there?
Actually, no. It's like in the 50s, approaching the 60s. So
Okay. So late February, fall, spring. You might get a snowstorm next week.
Probably. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. So let's dive into scheduling. Hopefully this episode will be able to help out our new hires in their probation year who are kind of trying to get their footing. But I also think this episode will be really beneficial as a refresher for some of our more senior folks as well. So what to know about schedule bidding. So Alexis, how many bid periods does NetJets have?
Yeah, so there are 3 bid periods per year for schedule bids. The first bid is February 1st to May 31st. The second one is June 1st to September 30th. And those are both closed bids. And then the open or flush bid period is the last one on October 1st to January 31st.
Okay, so talk to me about open and closed bids. What's the difference?
Yeah, so the open bid, the big flush bid, that's what we call the third bid period. That one is where everybody has to rebid. So basically everybody's previous schedule is wiped, and then everybody will resubmit their bids, and they'll all be awarded in seniority order per fleet and seat from the top down. And then once you're awarded that schedule, that's yours for the entire year. If you want it, you cannot be kicked off of it. And then for the closed bid periods, like I said, you're not going to be kicked off if you want to maintain that schedule. But if not, if you want to try something else, you can rebid. And if your seniority per your fleet and seat can hold it, you'll be awarded a new schedule.
Okay, so hypothetically, if I was going to say I'm a lazy pilot and I don't keep up with my emails, but if there's any bid I should be paying attention to, it's that third bid, that flush open bid.
Absolutely. 100%. Everyone must rebid for that. If you fail to bid because you're the lazy pilot that doesn't look at your emails, you will be awarded a leftover 7 and 7 line, most likely probably a Sunday or Saturday start.
And we don't want that. Although I do really like Saturday starts.
Saturday, maybe. Sunday, absolutely not.
I agree with that. All right. So we're talking schedules. We're talking bidding schedules. What are my schedule options?
Yeah, so we have fixed schedules, which are the 7 and 7 or the 8 and 6, exactly like it sounds, 7 on, 7 off, 8 on, 6 off. Or we have the crew choice schedules, which are more, I guess you could say, they kind of resemble an airline style of schedule. So you'll put your preferences in prior to the month that schedule is. And you'll kind of, just like I said, it's preference. You'll say you want to work this day or you don't want to work. And then the company will build your schedule around that. There's 4 different crew choice schedules. So there's the 52, the 60, the 72, and the 76. And all those numbers mean is the number of days that you will work in that bid period, which is 4 months. So if you take 76 and divide it by 4 and so on, that's how many days that you will get.
Okay, so say I bid the 72-day schedule. That's 18 days a month for that 4-month bid period. Is it possible to be working any more or less than 18 days a month for the 72-day schedule?
Yeah, there's a small little plus or minus rule. So the 72 is, like we said, 18 days per month normally, but it can go up to +2 or -2. So for example, if your first month, they schedule you for 20 days in that month, then the company technically owes you 2 days back. So then the next month, you may only work 17 and they still owe you 1 more. Or the next month, you may only work 16 and now you're back even for the following 2 months at 18. But no matter which way they do it, it will come out to equal 72 in the 4 month, but no more than +or -2 each month.
Alexis, are there any rules for the crew choice schedule with how they schedule the days?
Yeah, so depending on if you select long or short tour. So if you select long tour, that means you're willing to work up to 8 days in a row. So if they schedule you for 8 days, you'll have minimum 5 days off. If they schedule you for 7 days, you'll have 4 days off. And then 6 days or less, you'll have minimum 3 days off.
Okay, and if I don't choose long tour, what's the max amount of tour length I could get?
If you don't choose long tour, the default is 7 day max that they can schedule you.
Alexis, do you have any advice or any additional comments concerning schedule bidding that you would want a new hire to know?
For a new hire, I would highly recommend starting out on a fixed schedule, the 7-7 or the 8-6, just because it's a lot easier. There's so much to know about NetJets, kind of getting into the swing of things. And so trying to bid a schedule every month and work around the bidding is quite difficult. So I recommend the 7-7, 8-6 for your first bid period. And then from there, once you're used to NetJets and how the operation runs and all of that, then you can kind of dabble into the CC worlds if you wish.
Okay, so I'm a new hire. I just got off IOE. What can I expect with my schedule? Am I given options? How does that work?
Yeah, so assuming you just finished IOE and you're somewhere in the middle of a bid period that's already ongoing, the company will send you a list of options. So you are guaranteed a 7-7 line, not necessarily a certain start day, which creates a lot of confusion, but you will have a 7-7 option. As well as they'll probably offer you maybe an 8-6, and then what we've seen recently is the CC 72 and the 76. So those will be your options that they'll send you. But as far as bidding goes for your schedule, as long as you've passed your check ride, you are eligible to bid.
So do you advise that people bid once they become eligible?
Correct. As soon as you have your certificate in hand, I recommend bidding always.
Good advice. All right, so let's get into vacation bidding. When does vacation bidding occur?
Yeah, vacation bidding occurs in June. So after we bid for our schedules in June, after those are awarded for the flush bid, then you'll see the vacation email come out for bidding vacation, which will be open for 21 days. And then they'll award it 14 days after that. So plenty of time to go in, make your selections.
Alexis, when the vacation bid period opens in June, as you said, 21 days to make your selections. What does that selection process look like?
Yeah, so there'll be a form that you'll fill out, and there'll be up to 4 columns depending on how many weeks of vacation you've accrued. But you'll go through each column, your A, B, C, or D week, and numerically prioritize them on which weeks you prefer. And then based off your seniority of your fleet and seat, they'll award whichever weeks you can hold.
And what happens if I don't bid vacation?
If you don't bid, you will just be assigned whatever quote the leftover weeks are at the end of the bid, which I can guarantee you will not be summer weeks.
And if I don't want to use my vacation, are there mechanisms to get rid of it?
Yeah, if you don't want to use it, you can sell back your vacation. That has to be done following the year in which the vacation was earned. So there's a way on Jetstream to go in, sell it back. You'll get a nice check, and there you go.
Alexis, talk to me about our monthly PTO bidding.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to, I guess, bid for PTO. So there's the PTO monthly, and there's the first come, first serve. We'll start with the PTO monthly first, since that will happen first. So depending on what schedule you're on, so if you're on a fixed schedule, the PTO monthly bid will open the first of the month, and it'll be open for 4 business days, and then awarded 2 business days later. And what that means is you'll go in and select the days that you wish to have off. And if your seniority can hold it based off of your fleet and seat, and then seniority number, you will be awarded those days. For the CC schedules, the PTO monthly bid does not take place until after those schedules are awarded, which is normally on the 15th of the month prior. So 4 business days after the 15th of the month, the PTO monthly bidding will be open and then awarded within 2 business days later.
Are there rules with taking PTO days, when I could take them, how many I can take?
Correct. So the rules are that they have to be either at the end of the tour or the beginning of the tour. And they have to leave at least 4 flying days on your tour when you PTO. So it's either leave 4 or take the whole entire tour. And then as far as how many days that you're charged per PTO, so if you bid the PTO day greater than 72 hours from the start of your tour, not the day you want off, but the start of your tour, it'll be charged 1-to-1. If you're within 72 but greater than 48, it'll be charged at 1.5. And then if you're within 48 but greater than 24, it'll be charged at 2 times.
That is a lot of numbers to keep in my head. Is there a place I can reference that for the future?
There sure is. You should bookmark it. It's 10.4B6 in the contract. There's a nice chart that lays it all out for you. Yeah.
Okay, so backtracking a little, you mentioned PTO bidding and first come, first serve. Talk to me about first come, first serve. What is that?
So first come, first serve comes after the PTO monthly. So once those days are given out, whatever days are left over will go onto the first come, first serve. So for the fixed schedules, after I guess the sixth business day of the month, when those PTO monthlies are awarded, they'll open up the first come, first serve. So just like it says, you go in there, you see the day that you want, you click it, it's yours. And then for the CC schedules, that will happen later in the month once that PTO monthly has been awarded. But it's important to know that because they're occurring at different times in the month, the days are from different buckets, if you will. So the fixed schedules have a different set of PTO days, and the CC schedules have a different set of PTO days. So just because you're on a CC schedule, you're not at a disadvantage.
Good to know. And talk to me, every now and then I'll go into PTO bidding and I'll see EPTO. What does that mean?
Yeah, EPTO stands for Extraordinary PTO. So what that means is after all the PTO monthly days are gone, then all the first come, first served days are gone. The company will award 5 extra days of EPTO for every calendar day of the month. And all that means is that they're charged at a higher rate. So it's just double whatever the rate per the time frame is that you'll be charged.
Okay, so greater than 72 hours out, it'll be 2 times 1, so 2 days. But less than 72 hours out, it'll be 2 times 1.5, 3 days. Does it still follow that chart?
Correct. It's just double.
And now what happens if I've exhausted my PTO, but for whatever reason, I still need to take time off?
If you have no PTO left, you can request a leave of absence.
Okay, Alexis, you're on the scheduling committee and you're also a mentor. So I imagine you get a lot of questions, both being on that committee and from your mentees. Any frequently asked scheduling-based questions that you want to clear up?
Yeah, one I've been asked a couple of times is someone has successfully bidded PTO days and then their plans changed and they decided they no longer need that day off and they don't want to burn the PTO days. So as long as you're greater than 3 days out from that tour where the PTO is, you can rescind your PTO. So the day will go back into your bank and you'll be going back to work as normal.
And how do I rescind? Is that done through Jetstream or do I have to reach out to someone?
Yeah, so you'll just want to send an email over to bidding@NetJets stating that you'd like to rescind the PTO day, and you'll be good to go from there.
Okay, so we talked about schedule bidding. We talked about vacation and PTO, which is taking days off from work. Let's talk about putting more days on the schedule. We have voluntary additional work days as well as voluntary extended days. What is the difference between the two?
Yeah, so VODs and VEDs. So we'll start with VEDs first, the voluntary extended days. So what that is just an additional day that you are going to volunteer to work. It will be paid at 2.5 times your daily rate. And the way you go about acquiring one of those is through Vector, the app on your phone. So you'll go in Vector, you'll just click on the calendar day that you want to work. It needs to attach to your tour, front or back. And then you'll press at the bottom of the screen, volunteer for duty. And at that point, it sends a notification to the company that you wish to work this day. And then they will determine based off demand and as many people in their fleet and seat if they need you. And if they do, you'll get a notification back on that app and the day will be yours. The rules with that, with VEDs, is that you can only have 4 per bid period. So they can be taken all in the same month or they can be spread out however you and the company see fit. But the max is 4.
Does that rule apply to both CC and fixed schedules?
It applies to all schedule types except the 72 and the 76. You're unlimited for the amount of beds that you can get on that schedule.
Okay, so now talk to me about VODs.
VODs, so that stands for Voluntary Additional Workday. So those are sent out through a bidding email from NetJets prior to the month that the days will take place. And all of that is you just go in, they'll give you a list of days that they're advertising that they need people to work per fleet and seat. You can select up to 4 and they'll be given out in seniority order.
Anything you would like to add about schedule bidding, vacation bidding, PTO, or VODs and VEDs?
Yeah, the bidding process as a whole is pretty complicated, especially the vacation. So I highly encourage, especially the new hires, but really anyone, any of the pilots at NetJets. If you have questions or you're unsure, reach out to your mentor or reach out to scheduling at NJASAP. We're here to help. We're happy to help.
Well, Alexis, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
And thank you again to everyone listening for joining us today on our edition of Labor Talks. If you want to learn more about today's episode or have questions, please email scheduling@njasap.com. The first available scheduling member will provide you with support and information. Thank you for joining us today on another episode of Labor Talks. If you haven't already done so, please follow NJASAP on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @NJASAP. Show your support for the union with comments, likes, and shares. If you enjoyed this episode, encourage your fellow NJASAP members to tune in. And please share recommendations for future podcast episodes with us at podcast@njasap.com. Stay tuned for our next episode. And until then, this is Labor Talks, presented by NJASAP.